Hello YouTube and welcome back to another Raging Nightmare video. Now guys, technically this is going to be, let's see if we could do this this time, because I tried to do this video about an hour and a half ago, but for whatever reason the quality seems to be running at like 144p, but I think we've sort of like got through those issues now, and because it's been a little bit of a while since we've done one of these esport videos, and just for this occasion, we are going, well, basically, the way I decided to do this is to put all my esport reactions onto my gaming channel, because to keep things, you know, if you want to look for one specific thing, it'll be easier to come across. So, with all that being said and done, we're going to take a look into the life of former Dallas Fuel master DPS player Seagull. We find out exactly what his journey has been like through... Did he not like play Team Fortress 2 to get started with, then got involved in Overwatch? Because ever since he retired from the Dallas Fuel, I'm not entirely sure what Seagull's really been doing. Has he like moved on to other esports, or is he just doing his own thing? So I can't wait to find out exactly just a little bit more about what made Seagull such a monster. So if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. Let's begin the story of Seagull in 3, 2, 1, and...
Every game needs a face.
Any big hero swaps coming here? No Reinhardt's, no Guardians yet.
Dragonblade time. There goes altering a kill. For Seagull gets both supports, and the gull of the sea swoops in.
An ambassador to lift it from the screen and give it the kind of intrinsic value that makes us fall in love.
Excellent, man. Well, thank you very much for your time. And we're going to send it back to the desk right now. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm not going to leave you hanging.
When Overwatch was in its infancy, its faithful followers needed somewhere to go to keep their Overwatch-famished eyes satisfied. And they found that in a bird.
This is actually... Oh, my goodness. That's so good. Oh, that's Seagull on himself. There you go.
This is the story of that bird who became professional Overwatch's first hero. This is the story of Seagull. Brandon Seagull Larned has had a journey through esports fit for a bird. An avian voyage that soars through multiple games, a foray into the world of Twitch, the bright lights of the Overwatch League stage, and then right back to the comfort of his streaming setup. Seagull's journey started with Team Fortress 2, joining Classic Mix-Up in 2013 as a demo man and roaming soldier, competing with the team in 3 major events that year.
GGs are coming out. Wow. Mix-Up wins Season 15 land.
Dude, Harblue, Seagull. I think I might have heard of Shrug or Lansky before, but dude, Harblue went as far back as Team Fortress 2. He's a massive top 500 Roadhog main in Overwatch, but that's pretty cool.
Taking home the biggest cash prize since the CGS, the biggest cash prize in our game in 5 years. Unbelievable.
TF2 is often heralded as a major influence for Overwatch, and these kinds of class-based shooters ask a lot from their top performers. You've got to have the aim, game sense, and precision of a Counter-Strike pro, all while mastering a number of unique characters and kits. As Seagull was playing with Classic Mix-Up, the era of...
Dude, they've got my... Watch this, watch.
Unique characters and kits. As Seagull was playing...
Dude, they've got the exact same blue snowball mic I have. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
With Classic Mix-Up, the era of MOBA dominance was fully underway, and Counter-Strike was the shooter of choice for esports fans. But at BlizzCon 2014, Blizzard announced their modern-day iteration of the class-based shooter, Overwatch. And unlike any game that had come before it, it was specifically designed to facilitate competitive gameplay.
So, my friends, get a load of this. We hope you love it like we do. I'll see you on the other side.
You know what's also really ironic is that today's May 19th, which is the beginning of the Overwatch anniversary event, it would have been now 4 years since Overwatch came out. And listen, I've had a very love-hate relationship with Overwatch, but let's face it, 4 years is a very long time. Like, and could you imagine what's going to happen in, like, maybe next year? What on earth we're going to be getting for 5 years, half a decade of this game? I mention that because I know there's videos out there in which Seagull gives his state on the decline of the game, which I might possibly cover in a later video, but it's absolutely amazing how quick time goes by.
Seagull's popularity outside the TF2 scene began to rise with the official release of Overwatch on May 24th, 2016. He immediately started to play the game at a high level and identified characters that matched his TF2 skill set while adapting to the more complex MOBA-style abilities that were present in Overwatch.
I really wanted to become a pro gamer in any way that I could, whether that was streaming, whether that was competing, no matter what. I wanted to build something for myself, and the biggest thing that I found about it was I could sit there and I could learn the game and I could teach it to other people, and then you realize you actually have so many more people who care about you, just you as a person outside of the pro scene.
With his foray into Overwatch fully underway, Seagull wasted no time jumping right into Twitch, where fans were hungry for top-tier gameplay.
Well, pre-mobile Numbani looks amazing.
Seagull was a computer science major at Washington State University when his stream first started to blow up, and it was actually his parents who suggested he take a break from school in order to give full-time gaming a chance. Early in the Overwatch game, Seagull was the community's poster boy. People immediately fell in love with the game, but nobody knew how long it would take for the Overwatch League to come together. So they found comfort in watching a bird shoot some guns.
Back when, even without Bastion's shield, he was still broken. I mean, look at this. 450 health, and that's like 250 in armor. That's way too much. Oh,
Peace.
From the very beginning, there was only one way to describe Seagull's on-stream and public personality: lovable. He then became a member of Team Luminosity right as all the major esports organizations started signing Overwatch rosters. During the early days of Overwatch, it was clear that the yearn for esports was there, but players like Seagull were relegated to third-party events.
Anyway, $22,000 up for grabs here potentially in this next game. $15,000 to first, $7,000 to second, and because just one game away from the biggest prize purse in Overwatch history.
Late in 2016, Overwatch started to grow and attract larger prize pools. Seagull was picked up by NRG Esports and qualified for the 2016 Overwatch World Cup with Team USA. During this time, Seagull also competed at Apex Season 1. Apex was often looked at by fans as a way of predicting what the Overwatch League would eventually look like, because it featured a mix of players from all over the world. And everyone wanted to know if players like Seagull would be able to stack up against Korea's best.
Second break as well as he gets taken out. Dohyun has that Dragon Strike again, but Seagull comes in with the Death Blast Nano Boost. Onto Alarm. Meanwhile, everybody gets caught up in that Graviton Surge. Enigma diving in there. Has a lot of damage built up on that Zarya. Seagull gets 3. Here we go. Coming in. That's Graviton Surge used by both teams, actually. Sound Barrier as well. Energy has that shield, and they're going to use it. Wow, can you imagine that? This is like, what, early 2017? No Moth comp whatsoever. They didn't need to use the Mercy at that point, because actually that's actually a really good point. Why didn't they play they run a Moth comp in this? But what do I know? Maybe she was going through the changes at this point. To carry themselves through this team fight. Definitely starting out strong. Seagull looking for more victims, takes out Dohyun. Looks like this is going to be a point A take for Energy. Looks like Sound Barrier coming through just in time, but the Blizzards lasting just long enough for Energy to push MVP back, and they get the point. That's the match. And Energy takes the 3-0.
The competitive scene was revving its engines, and Seagull was quickly becoming a recognizable face within a relatively faceless esport. As is true with other competitive endeavors like sports, it's been clear since the very beginning of esports that someone's celebrity can be as important to their brand as their skill level. And with Overwatch in its infancy, the hype surrounding the game was more about the much heralded Overwatch League and the game itself, not the people playing it. But Seagull was one of the few exceptions to that rule. Maybe the single most important moment in Seagull's rise to Overwatch notoriety was one simple handshake, or rather, a lack thereof.
Now, here's a guy who goes by the name of Seagull, finishing up an interview at a competition this week, and check out his cool handshake at the end. Watch.
Excellent, man. Well, thank you very much for your time, and we're going to send it back to the desk right now. Oh, you, all right, look at me. Shake my hand. Yeah, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm not going to leave you hanging.
Hey, in case you missed it, let's get a closer look at that handshake. That's the...
With one outstretched hand at the Overwatch Open, met by maybe a little more resistance than expected, Seagull became the lovable goof we know today. And his Overwatch game was only getting better. As 2017 began, all eyes in competitive Overwatch were on Overwatch Contenders Season 1. The Overwatch League had officially been announced, and players were scrambling to show off their skills in order to land a coveted spot on one of the league's franchise teams. But in the bridge period between the game's launch and Contenders, Overwatch kind of stagnated, and it's players like Seagull who helped the game stay relevant on Twitch by giving fans something to watch while the Overwatch League started its rollout.
What turrets? Oh no! No! God damn.
Classic sim. Oh my god, that guys. I was not one of those classic sim one tricks you only hear about in nightmares, but I was one of the few guys that when she was coming out, listen, actually I'll tell you what, I started playing Overwatch on the PC right about the time when Symmetra was going through that massive change when they reduced the turrets from 6 to 3, and during my first competitive game when I got up to level 25, Sim was not playable because apparently they still had to work out whether or not there's anything that needed to be nerfed, like a teleporter or a photon barrier. But I was gonna main as DPS Sim because that's essentially what happened to Sim. She became not just the throw support, she became a pretty crucial DPS character. And then they take her away from me. They take away possibly my favorite character in the game. But that's how long ago it was, and that was like Summer Games 2018 is when I started to play Overwatch on PC. Oh god, those were some good times, guys.
As Contenders started, Seagull left NRG and joined Team Envious in September 2017. Envious were one of the top North American teams during the Contenders era, and with the Overwatch League's first season on the horizon, Seagull had separated himself as one of the best projectile players in the game.
It's all well and good that he's big and red and angry when he's going to get cut down very quickly, and you can see him attempts to...
Dude, I'm pretty sure that's not the same Chipson, who's now... No, I'm pretty sure that's not Chipson, but Effect, Taimu, Coco on this team. And they're up against Carpe, Spree, Joe Meister, and that is an all-star game right there.
To access the payload, Harry Hook getting it done. Overtime is done. The Kings have returned to their throne. The Seagull is home to roost, and Envious get themselves that title.
Contenders acted as a kind of proving ground. Many esports organizations fielded teams, and for players like Seagull, it was the place to show off his skills before rosters were finalized. Around this same time, organizations were purchasing their spots in Season 1 of the Overwatch League, and Team Envious was one of the 10 organizations to do just that.
Ooh.
It was finally time for Seagull to test his skills on the game's biggest stage, as one of the faces of the Team Envious-operated Dallas Fuel.
Not going to see any big hero swaps coming here.
True.
No Reinhardt's, no targets yet.
Dragonblade time. There goes altering a kill. For Seagull gets both supports. And the Gull of the Sea swoops in. Seagull right now trying to loop all the way around the side. Oh, kids, Kuki and Jaehong. What?
Those long-range rockets find their intended targets. Jaehong going to get resurrected, but they are surrounded right now. Seagull.
Oh, Graviton Surge used early. Dragon Strike sent from straight through there. They have the combo available. Didn't need to use it. Oh, he even gets Rockus and Bonnie at the end. That is a 5K.
For a lot of Overwatch's top players, the first stage of the Overwatch League was the scene's ultimate proving ground. With the exception of Apex, most Overwatch events had been regional, but OWL featured a mixture of the most highly touted players from all over the world. So for players like Seagull and his teammates Taimu and XQC, it was time to show that they could hang with the best Korea had to offer. A feat Western players had long been chasing across esports.
Well, there was also Surefour, Jake, Muma. Actually, that's about it. Oh, also CarQ, but he didn't come into like season 2, I believe, for Toronto. Yeah, it was more or less that.
Into the well, courtesy of Fleta, with some help from Topi. We'll give him some credit for that one. And that is it. Seoul Dynasty will take a 2-0 here on Ilios. Well, good opportunity for London. They only need that first tick to win the map. And those are the kills they're looking for. That's going to be it. London Spitfire will take the 3-1 victory over Dallas Fuel. Alpine putting the icing on the victory cake here for NYXL. I think that's going to be it.
It's just Coco with the primal rage, and he's not going to be enough. New York will win 3-1.
To say that the Fuel and Seagull's initial attempt at overcoming the insurgence of Korean talent during the early days of OWL was a failure would be an understatement. They finished stage 1 with a 3-7 record, while they watched Korean-dominated super teams like the New York Excelsior and London Spitfire style under the bright lights. That trend continued into stage 2, where they went 2-8.
After that time period, pretty much coaching / management lost all faith in me, is how I put it. I don't think I played in a scrim for probably 4 weeks by that point. It was just over 3 weeks. So transition had happened. They had moved on without me, is the TLDR rate.
The Dallas Fuel start to their time in the Overwatch.
Was that the same point when they like brought Rascal in? I think they brought like Rascal to either replace XQC, or it might have been somebody different. But I think that was like when they decided we're going to need something a little bit stronger than this. So I think that's the point where they brought Rascal into this. I think I'm not entirely caught up on the entire history of the Dallas Fuel's like problems in season 1, and then again, you know, XQC didn't exactly make things better, but that's a completely different story.
Overwatch League was just about as underwhelming as possible, and Seagull's role on the team and future were filled with question marks. But he would persevere. Somehow, Seagull was able to completely overhaul his Overwatch game seemingly overnight. A career damage dealer across multiple games.
I think it just comes down to just very, very straightforward things, if you ask me. Just go back to your roots. Go back to exactly what you were great at doing, and then work on it. In fact, I would even suggest going back to TF2 for a little while, just to remember what it was you were so good at and what it was that made you so much better when you got into Overwatch. They said he was very big on projectile heroes like Pharah, Junkrat. Technically, May technically isn't really projectile if you count icicles being shot at, but there's just the idea is pretty simple. Just hone your skills, practice, practice, practice.
Honed into a tank player, all to keep his...
Or completely swap off and go on to Diva. Okay, wow, these were the pre-role queue days as well. It was Overwatch's history has been very, very varied, to say the least.
Dreams alive.
I was told over team dinner that they were going to be signing Rascal, and so essentially they didn't have a new solid role for me that I was okay with, and I knew that we needed a second off-tank player in case Mickey was sick. So in my head, I'm going, okay, well, we only have one D.Va player, so I'm going to go learn D.Va. Pretty much told them that I was going to go learn D.Va because I think that had a better value to the team than playing just like third string DPS by that point.
But despite his stellar transition, the Fuel did not improve on their performance in Stage 3, where they went 1-9.
It's going to be Soul Dynasty who flips the point back. Dallas Fuel has to touch. Steady as she goes, Effect is trying to dip his toe in the water, but no, he's pushed away! And that was the chance for the Fuel to finally get a win against Soul, but no, it's not going to be today.
But Pine falls on point B on Route 66. And
Now, again, much to the Fuel's credit, you're up against Excelsior in this. I mean, even if you guys only know Jonak through even if you're a very casual sort of like Overwatch OWL fan, then Sableye, Mano, Pine is absolutely one of the best snipers you're going to find in the world. It takes only guys who are exceptional likes of AKM, Taimu, and Prophet as well to match up with those sort of guys. So there is nothing to be ashamed of in losing to a roster like that. Absolutely nothing.
your team wins anyway? Does it make a sound?
I don't think it does. And look at that. You see the Primal Rage used just to stay alive and on the payload. And that's it.
Or OG is going to jump in, wants to go after the Widow, and realizes he's got to touch the card.
I mean, you got Bonnie just healing right now, but yeah, now that you have Cool Matt back, it is going to be a quick death there for OGE. All the chain heals going through. Cool Matt even going for the self-destruct over. And a hard defeat here for the Dallas Fuel. Houston Outlaws, they reign supreme in Texas.
The Fuel possessed some of the most beloved and recognizable faces in the game, but they couldn't put up the results their fans and the community expected. And unlike during Apex and Contenders, where he was a highly sought-after Western talent, Seagull was a replaceable level player compared to the rest of the OWL's talent.
When we lost our morale, it was definitely low from losing, but in a certain way, it was still okay. Like, we was just a temporary low, and everyone was kind of hard on themselves in a certain way.
It's one thing to get outplayed. It's one thing for the opponent just to play better than you on a certain day. It's another thing to fall apart, and that's what happened.
But as the league's fourth stage got underway, something extraordinary was happening.
He's about to come online. Mickey with a big play takes down Sato.
Yeah, and Mickey needs to just group up with the rest of his team right now. Trying to get that rally in there. Oh! The monster self-destruct from Seagull. Boombox and Shadowburn both dead. There will be a self-destruct thrown in, but it's not going to matter.
In this game, you can revive the Clay Pigeons, Noah. Whoa! Seagull can get a 3K Kangaroo.
Oh, self-destruct extravaganza right here, apparently.
A lot of people said it. Tank-heavy meta is going to favor the Fuel. True. They run...
Yeah, this is when the meta shifted into the infamous GOATS comp. Just for those guys who don't know out there what the GOATS is, or you're only just getting into Overwatch now and you have absolutely no idea because of role queue. Before role queue, you could literally pick whatever character out of the 32 roster you wanted. You could go all in and you could have a 6 DPS team, or you could play it smart and do what really high level players did, and you would have 3 tanks and you would have 3 supports. The idea of having 3 supports is that they will keep their tanks so alive, and because they have so much more, I want to say, health, and because some have weaponry that doesn't necessarily involve a great deal of aim, it makes life so much easier. So you could have longer fights and you could stay alive for longer. And this is when you have to remember when Brigitte was being introduced in the meta, and she had to go under nearly 10 whole patches, all of them nerfs to her character, which again, it raises the question that Brig was released far too soon. I would rather have had, let's say, Wrecking Ball released before Brigitte, and then Brigitte sort of brought in as pseudo a counter to Wrecking Ball, because they released Brigitte before she was even finished, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people may possibly look at the same thing when it comes to that. And then Role Queue was literally brought in because I think somebody thought that the Overwatch League thought that it was getting boring, considering players would just play the same bunch of characters over and over again. This brings into another problem that Seagull, I think, mentions, that all this focus on the Overwatch League is actually hurting the more casual players, because unless you're picking GOATs at like top 500, then there's no other character you could play. Basically, your entire roster was reduced to basically one of 6 characters: D.Va, Reinhardt, Zarya, Moira, Lucio, and Brigitte. And that was pretty much nothing else. And that was almost the entirety of 2018 was like that. Fortunately, I never got anywhere close to top 500. The closest I've ever gone to at any point in this was just, I think, 2800 as a tank main, but that's not that great, to be honest.
Mickey on the Brigitte. They run Seagull on the D.Va now. The fruits of their labor for having Seagull practice so much off-tank this season. Now it's coming back as a boon to the Fuel.
For sure, but the player to help them get it done is Seagull, I think. He has been so strong recently. When you look at his D.Va play, he's at the top of the charts for everything offensive. He can play the Genji, he can play the Hanzo, the Junkrat, the Pharah, and he can have great performances all over the place. And of course...
everything except support.
There you go. The shot of the season, perhaps?
Seagull was flying again, and the Dallas Fuel were headed to the playoffs. He went from playing Genji and Pharah to having the best stats in the entire league with D.Va in Stage 4. But as their semi-final match against the league's most feared team in the New York Excelsior began, the Fuel looked outmatched.
Mono and Meko are just in on every single kill, 33 limbs.
And we already have Jonah going in with the trance. Nobody else is going to die here for New York. Seagull, you're the last one. Uncle's trying to float his way back into the fight, but it's not meant to be. And New York excels. They're running away with the text.
It may all be for naught unless Seagull and OG can go to town on this.
Oh, Seagull, he's coming up with 2, but that might be it. OG, the last man alive here, and nobody close enough. Harry Hook going for the Valve, trying to fly his way back into this fight, but they will not make it in time. It is going to be 2 ticks and a second map picked up for the New York XL, taking the lead in this best-of-5 series.
In classic Cinderella fashion, the Fuel were not about to go down without a fight.
Janice now with the...
Not entirely sure if that's how Cinderella works, but whatever. Just for the sake of this, let's forget we don't know anything about Cinderella and just let him go with it.
Bubble. He's got Animo here as well to back him. As long as that bubble survives, they may be able to hang in here just a little while longer. Trying to get onto Animo, trying to remove that healing. Animo, tight spot, and they leave the point just long enough for Dallas Fuel to find the victory. Upset win, a 2-0 clean win. Keeps Dallas Fuel alive in the semifinal. Ready to be dealt. So there'll be no hesitation on his side. Oh, the double kill from Seagull. Again with the stylish self-destruct. Again with the massive plays. Jonak, Arc, Liberal dead. That's going to send New York packing.
Should be able to get back. Meko maybe touch. He gets bashed away again. No one can touch the Brigitte bouncer. Comes through again and stops Dallas Fuel, making it exciting. Let's go to map number 5, Seth.
Unfortunately, this Cinderella story doesn't have a happy ending.
Not like this, Dallas. Self-destruct out, not gonna find a kill. They're still on top of this New York Excel.
They're pushing.
Who can actually deny it? Mickey will be the one to contest. Finally, somebody here for the Dallas Fuel. That allows for Taimu to get out onto the point as well. Harry Hook trying to play the angles, just trying to stay alive, trying to get the heals, but the double kill, self-destruct, dunk! And it's New York XL winning 3-2 in the end, advancing to the finals over Dallas.
And New York Excelsior slay the Dallas Dream.
David did everything he could to match Goliath, but in the end, the New York Excelsior defeated the Dallas Fuel in a grueling 5-game series. And then Seagull left the nest. Upon completion of the Stage 4 playoffs, Seagull announced that he would not be returning to play with the Dallas Fuel for the Overwatch League's 2nd season.
Chat, it's not a debate. We're gonna have a talk, chat. I kept lying to myself for like 2 years, like over and over again. I would sit there and I would be like, oh yeah, I can do pro and I can stream at the same time. It'll be fine. Just think about being a professional player and you realize that every single day that you're trying to go pro, someone who used to be a part of the stream that you built is leaving. And if you focus on pro play, you're letting down your stream. And if you try and balance both, you're letting down your teammates who are your second family. There's no winning.
As has become a trend with popular streamers of late, Seagull left his professional team to pursue full-time streaming. Seagull began as one of the most popular personalities in the game as a streamer. The peak of his popularity, as we now know, was in Korea, where he inspired tons of his viewers to take up the game. Those same Korean players who eventually supplanted him in the Overwatch League.
한국에서도 이제 시걸 하면은 그래도 오버워치 좀 했다 하는 사람들은 이제 다 아는 정도라고 생각. 시작할 때 시걸 선수의 방송을 보면서 이제 오버워치를 시작하게 됩니다. 그때 시걸 선수의 갈매기 조류, 저도 조류로 하고
Oh yeah, that's right. I've completely forgot that was meant to be bird ring.
싶어서 버드에다가 링을 붙이게 돼서 이제 버드 링이 된 것 같습니다.
Seagull lived the esports dream, and in the end, it all came back to Twitch. Since Overwatch's beginnings, Seagull has been one of the game's most popular streamers, and when he returned to streaming full-time, nothing had changed.
Oh, okay. Hi, Milk Dog. I'm Omnic Dick. No? No, I'm just Omnic Dick.
No, you are.
No, I'm just Omnic Dick.
Oh my God, no. I know your name.
Nope.
Dude, what's up? Oh my God, I can't even get to play with you.
He brings something a little different to the table than your average top streamer. To be frank about it, he's just a really nice guy. Now, that's not to say that other top streamers aren't nice, but Seagull has found a way to wield it. He's not wild or dramatic or toxic. He's just wholesome and laid back, which makes him extremely likable. Since his departure from Dallas, Seagull's stream has seen a boost in numbers. During August of 2018, his first full month as a streamer since his Overwatch League career started, he averaged more than 14,000 viewers at a time. That's a large jump from his time balancing his pro career, where he averaged just under 9,000 viewers at a time in June and July. In addition to his jump in average views, Seagull also had his metaphorical coming out party on August 28, when he peaked at more than 107,000 viewers. Overwatch had its cosmetic promotion called Twitch Drops targeting Seagull that day, and fans quite literally flocked to his stream.
I know most are here for the sprays, chat. Did I make it? Did I do it? Did we peak at 100K? Oh my God. That's awesome. Even Jeff Kaplan said congrats. Thank you. I love you, chat. Thank you for being here. This is insane. Just thank you so much.
With this stream, Seagull cemented himself as the undisputed king of streaming Overwatch. His journey back into streaming was immediately validated, and as one of the most lovable faces on Twitch, the Overwatch community celebrated him. Overwatch is still a very fast game, and that can make it difficult to stream at times while communicating with your community. Recently, Seagull has tried streaming games like Call of Duty Blackout and Fortnite to some success.
Oh, what a fucking run.
But he's never come anywhere close to his Twitch drop numbers on stream. The Seagull story is something we're starting to become quite familiar with in the gaming world, and it wasn't that long ago when we saw Shroud retire to pursue his career as a full-time streamer. And now we've got one of the most popular NA Overwatch pros doing the same thing. So this begs the question, are esports starting to become just the beginning? Is streaming really the end goal if your dream is to spend your days playing video games? Or will these two career paths continue to operate adjacent to one another? Seagull is trying to prove that this trend will continue. The bird is taking flight for the top of the Twitch rankings, and only time will tell if he'll reach his destination. Thanks for watching.
Well, not quite. And I'll explain this to you guys very, very simply. Listen, it's not as easy as that sounds. Mostly because, and this is something I'm having to learn to accept to myself, is that I'm not exactly the most competent at being behind a camera. I really think, like, for people who are only just getting started in this sort of thing, it's it could be one of the most nerve-wracking things in the world. But then again, you've got to understand something very, very important, is that the important thing in the world is that you're having fun while doing this. And if you're having fun, then your audience is also having fun. And you know what? I don't. That's my outlook. That's my outlook anyway. As long as you're enjoying yourself and you love doing the things that you do, then you know what? It shouldn't matter whatsoever. Some people get so obsessed and they get so they get this system where they work so hard, but they're not having fun while doing this. They see that streaming is just like a competition, just to earn money in a really, really fast way. So many people get into these habits that are not exactly the healthiest to deal with, and it doesn't make the whole experience any fun. And if you really want a good example, go in, because I know that I actually follow quite a number of esport players. Most of them have been former the London Spitfire players like Prophet, Gesture, Birdring, Krillin, and I follow Mickey as well. He's actually not really bad on camera. It's just watch them, see what you think, and then you tell me if you think what they have, because most of them are so. It's like watching a professional sport athlete in a day of training. It's that, and that's really what it's all about. And now, just before we close off, there's something I just wanted to see. I wanted to go. I just wanted to show something very, very quickly, and it might take me a little bit of a while to find it. So I think let me just try some highlights. I'm just gonna go to the one video I know it is. I think it's like 43 or something like that, because it's something of a nice little shout out that XQC gives to Seagull. So sorry if this takes a little bit of time, but let me just see if I can find it.
Ready, boys? Here we go.
Let me just put off for a second till I can find it. Let's see. I don't think it's here. No, it's it might be the next one, or possibly number 45. In fact, I don't think it's meant to be this one either. Let's just. No, it's definitely not 44. Possibly 45. I apologize if this is taking a little bit of a while, but this one was just a really cool thing to do. I just thought to myself. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I love this part again, because again, like I said, the transitioning is very, very difficult. But then again, this is just use this as a metaphor to just try to like determine what XQC thinks, because again, he was the guy who had to transition more out of reality as opposed to, you know, making the decision himself. But just watch this.
Less RNG comes back.
Imagine dying to Dragon Tree Heart. Love the stream XQCL.
If I take the jump, look, boom, dude. This all people on Twitter saying some stupid shit. It's all the haters. It's all the newbies. It's all the master players that keep talking shit. Will he fall, boys, or will he fly? This all the dead streamers, boys, all the streamers that didn't make a transition into variety. All the dead streamers, boys. This is DSP staking. All the rest, boys. They're looking up. Will he fly, boys? Jump! Seagull!
Hollow feeling.
And again, I think that's just about all we've got time for. So I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to the story of Seagull. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys thought of the story of Seagull yourself, and I hope to see all of you guys again in the next video. Take care. Bye bye for now.